Hello there, and welcome back to the Dino Dave Show. On our first episode, we talked about the two worldviews, the creationist worldview that states everything we have was created by an intelligent designer, or a god, and the other worldview is the evolutionist worldview that states that everything we have is self-existing and was created by nothing. We also talked about the four great questions. Where did I come from? What's my purpose in life? What am I worth? And where am I going when I die? Now, we also talked about how, depending on how you view the world, that's going to have a different set of answers to those four questions. So, if you haven't watched our first video, go ahead and take the chance to watch that after this one. Alright, today I want to talk to you about the two worldview timelines. Now, the first timeline is the creation timeline. It states that about 6,000 years ago, everything was created by God. 4,400 years ago, there was a great worldwide flood. 2,000 years ago, Jesus came to earth. And now we are in the present. Now, the second timeline is the evolutionist timeline. Now, the numbers on this vary all over the place, but they'll be generally accurate. I'm going by the sources and claims made by drdino.com, so you can check them out. And they give actual dates from textbooks, so I don't see anything wrong with using these dates. But the numbers, depending on where you look, do vary. But anyways, the evolutionist timeline states basically that about 20 billion years ago, the Big Bang created everything from nothing. 4.5 billion years ago, the Earth was formed. About 3 billion years ago, the first life evolved. And now we are in the present. Now, you may notice that the evolution timeline is quite different from the creationist timeline. But before I go any further, I want to talk about two types of creationists. There's the old Earth creationist, and they state that the Earth and the universe is actually closer to the evolutionist timeline, which means that the Earth and the universe is around billions of years old. But the young Earth creationists, the second type, they believe that the Bible is literally true and that the days at the beginning of the creation were actually 24-hour days and that everything was created about 6,000 years ago. So now you may automatically be wondering, well, if everything is really 6,000 years old like the young Earth creationists claim, then what about stuff like the dinosaurs? Didn't they exist millions of years ago? Well, I'll cover all that on a later show in the near future. But right now I just want to talk about the two timelines and show the difference between the two. Now, the young Earth creationists believe that everything is created around 6,000 years ago. If you take the 6 days of creation in Genesis chapter 1 and assume they're literal 24-hour days, and start from Adam and go on down to Joseph through the Bible, you can construct a timeline much like this one here and find out that everything happened around 6,000 years ago. Remember, this is from a literal interpretation. Now, I know some people say that the 6 days of creation in Genesis weren't literal days. They were just long periods of time. But there is some very strong evidence to support that they were 24-hour days. I'll go into some of that a little bit later too. Some people also say that Adam and the people around his time did not live 900 years or around then, but they really just lived like about 100 years like an average person. I'll also talk about some of that stuff. a little bit later. But from a literal interpretation, as you can see from the chart I showed you, everything was created about 6,000 years ago. Hey everyone, Dino Dave here. You know, we sure have a lot of fun on our shows, but what's more important than that is if you know Jesus Christ as your personal Savior. You see, a lot of people know of Him. That means they know who He is, but they don't really know Him, like as in a personal relationship. You know, like a mother and father with their kids, that kind of relationship. So if you don't have a personal relationship, won't you get involved with Jesus that way today?